First-degree AV block is one of the most commonly encountered conduction abnormalities on an EKG. Unfortunately, it's also one of the most benign. You'll often come across it incidentally, during a routine ECG, a hospital admission, or even in completely asymptomatic patients. To truly understand first-degree AV block, let's briefly revisit how normal electrical conduction in the heart works. Under normal circumstances, electrical impulses originate in the SA node and travel toward the AV node. The AV node acts as a natural gatekeeper between the atria and the ventricles. It intentionally slows down the electrical impulse for a brief moment before allowing it to pass into the ventricles. This pause is physiologically important. It gives the ventricles time to properly fill with blood before they contract. On an EKG, this delay is represented by the PR interval. In a healthy heart, the PR interval is less than 200 milliseconds. That timing tells us that conduction from the atria through the AV node and into the ventricles is occurring efficiently. Now here's where first-degree AV block comes in. In first-degree AV block, electrical impulses are still being conducted from the atria to the ventricles, but the journey through the AV node takes longer than normal. There is a delay, not a block. And how does this show up on the EKG? As a prolonged PR interval, meaning greater than 200 milliseconds. This is the hallmark finding. But there is an extremely important rule you must remember. Every P wave is followed by a QRS complex, every single time. No missed beats, no dropped QRS complexes, and no sudden pauses. The heart rhythm remains regular and predictable. The only abnormality is the timing of conduction. This point cannot be overstated because it clearly distinguishes first-degree AV block from second-degree AV blocks, where not all atrial impulses successfully reach the ventricles. In those rhythms, some P waves are not followed by QRS complexes. That does not happen in first-degree AV block. Now let's talk about why first-degree AV block occurs. There are several possible causes, and many of them are completely harmless. One common reason is increased vagal tone. This is often seen in athletes, young adults, or during sleep, when parasympathetic activity is higher. In these cases, a prolonged PR interval can actually be a normal variant. Another cause involves medications that slow conduction through the AV node. These include drugs such as beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, and digoxin. These medications intentionally slow AV-nodal conduction as part of their therapeutic effect, and a prolonged PR interval is sometimes an expected finding. Structural or age-related changes within the AV node itself can also contribute, particularly in older adults. In rarer situations, first-degree AV block can be associated with inferior wall myocardial infarctions because the AV node receives its blood supply from the right coronary artery. However, when this happens, it's usually not an isolated finding. You would expect to see additional ECG changes suggesting ischemia or infarction rather than just a prolonged PR interval alone. And this brings us to the most reassuring part. The overwhelming majority of first-degree AV blocks are benign. Most patients have no symptoms at all. Most require no treatment. And in most cases, no immediate intervention is necessary. Management usually involves simple observation and addressing any reversible causes, such as adjusting medications if clinically indicated. So how do you recognize first-degree AV block on an ECG? Think of it as a checklist. 1. Look for a PR interval greater than 200 milliseconds. 2. Confirm that every P wave is followed by a QRS complex. 3. Remember that it represents delayed conduction, not blocked conduction. 4. And most importantly, understand that it is usually a benign finding. If you're just starting your ECG learning journey, this is one of the best rhythms to master early. It helps build a strong foundation for recognizing more advanced AV blocks later on. If you found this explanation helpful, make sure to hit the like button. It truly supports the channel. Leave a comment below if you have questions, want clarification, or have ideas for future ECG topics. I do my best to read and respond to as many comments as possible. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming rhythm and ECG breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.